This is my daily podcast for Saturday, 8th of May of 2021. A very warm welcome to all of our friends, fans, community members and viewers on various platforms. Welcome. Thank you for joining us yet again for our daily podcast here on my channel. Well, I've been away and that's the reason why we've not had any podcast for a couple of weeks. I've had a break, and as you obviously know, I deliver my Twitch streams here in a seasonal format, so it's similar to what we have with the AAA blockbusters. Usually the season lasts about 3 to 4 months, and then there's a lengthy 2 to 3 week break, and then I come back again, and that's exactly what happened. So I had a wonderful break, and really one of the main reasons as to why I take it is not just to be resting and maybe having lengthy strolls in our local nature reserve, but more to do with catching up with all the titles and all the gaming activity, films and medias that are up and about whilst I'm doing the season, because really, quite frankly, the titles like Destiny, like Elder Scrolls, like The Division, massive big never-ending games, and there's very little time for anything else to be looked at, played or enjoyed outside of that format. As you know, the streams are fairly lengthy, they take a bit of time, and if we are to be doing it in a pro format, which is up to 5 to 6 hours a day, then there's very little time for anything else left. And I'm not really one of the gamers who is hammering all the games 24/7. I find that to be overbearing, and I want to enjoy what I'm doing, and therefore the schedule, the activities, the duration, all of that is always tailored to what I feel is the very best for myself and for our community. In fact, doing lengthy streams, like some people do, is for myself very tiring, and then I lose focus. I get a bit edgy, can't really respond too well to the comments coming in, etc. So, cut long story short, it's been a very enjoyable break. I had, first of all, plenty of time to enjoy some of the other games that were literally on top of my list. And I can tell you straight away that 2 games I played quite extensively during the last few weeks were, first of all, The Outer Worlds, a wonderful Obsidian masterpiece. In fact, I really think The Outer Worlds, as it also carries on with the development, is going to be one of my favourites of all times, together with Mass Effect, Destiny and Elder Scrolls. And it's just all down to the dialogue, to the multitude of different activities, to the vast and absolutely amazingly immersive open world with so many NPCs, different characters, very many side quests, and a lot of enjoyable dialogue for everyone to embrace. So really, quite frankly, most I'd recommend it to everyone. It's a story which in fact is, I guess, in its format similar to No Man's Sky, and initially the game was very similar because it didn't have a proper in-game tutor with directions, and you're a bit stranded as you enter the game not knowing where to go, what to do, and that turned out to be not very popular, so they really kind of rejigged the whole prologue, and it's very easy to find the ropes, to find what you need to do as it stands today. And once you enter the ship, once you start your journey, there are many planets and many locations for you to explore, Once you get in, you will be immediately brought into the systems that we had seen in Fallout series. Obsidian worked on Fallout New Vegas, which still remains, I think, up to date, the most popular of the most popular episode in the series, and I certainly think that they really developed, extended, and certainly excelled within that format in the Outer Worlds. As you will see once you enter the dialogue, you will get a multitude of options, so it isn't just your character traits with 3 questions like what we had in Fallout, but all other sub-questions that will be unlocking additional missions, increasing your special skills, giving you the way into other stories and additional side quests, and many other things for you both to discover, explore and enjoy. So absolutely tip-top, absolutely top-notch, really enjoyable, and I played very many hours. I think probably within a range of 50 to 80 hours of the game so far, and that's just basically on the gameplay. So I obviously spent a lot more time on the game because I really, strolled and explored the open world, and the counter is just literally looking at certain tasks and how quickly you completed them. So if you're strolling, it doesn't really take this into account. It's more like how quickly you had completed any of the main tasks that you were given. The other big game I played, and I talked about it here quite a lot on recommendation of Jeff Rubinstein from Xbox, is Yakuza series, and I'm playing presently Yakuza 3, and that game is part of the remastered trilogy collection, so anyone who's on Xbox and is subscribed to the Ultimate can access it immediately for free on that subscription fee. And I have to say, I really tried the game also on PS Now services in its older format, but the remaster is just something out of this world. It's just absolutely terrific. Beautiful graphics, very great, very high quality, Dolby Stereo, Atmos almost type of sound, and the game is extraordinary. I mean, I agree with Jeff, absolutely 100%. You have so many different games brought into one, and the format is of an adventure game that has also elements of RPG and then film noir and a kind of a family stroke psychological drama, fighting game, turn-based strategy, all sorts of games all really combine into one massive big epic storyline with lots of different characters, plenty of activities, sizable open world for you to explore with different corners, and most importantly with lots of hidden activities. So for instance, in Yakuza, what you can do is you walk around the city, you go in a shop and you start reading magazines, and you can buy some of the magazines, collect them, or you can go to a local pub and then do some darts matches, or you can go to a pub and do some karaoke. You can go to golf club, play golf with some of the other characters, and it's just incredible how well everything blends in, although it's fairly complex. Also, its narrative is very easy to follow. Quests and side quests are easy to find, and as you're roaming the streets, you come across lots of villains and thugs. You need to do a bit of fighting. You increase your levels, your special abilities, and kind of tip-top skills that you will be needing for some of the combat with major bosses. And most importantly, the game is incredibly emotional. And in Yakuza 3, what you get is this former gangster who's running an orphanage, and he's drawn into some shady deals because I think on the island where he is in Okinawa, they want to be developing some sort of industrial facility which would affect his orphanage, and therefore he needs to stand up to this and basically find a way out. You really feel for those children, and you really feel for everything that's happening to that orphanage, which is quite unusual considering Yakuza is actually a kind of a story based on gangsters and lots of activities. So that really grabbed me, and I found myself deeply moved on the inside as I really protected the children, or I did something which is going to be beneficial to them, and all of that really appeared to be carefully designed and beautifully delivered. I do apologise, something's a bit wrong with my voice today, I don't know why. And really, I most highly recommend Yakuza 3, 4 and 5. to all of our friends and fans, and if you are in doubt, the best way to do it is simply to subscribe to either Xbox Game Pass or PS Now services, and you'll be able to access the games for free at no additional cost, and you can try them, find out for yourself what you like or not, what you see. So these are the two biggies that I really tackled. The third game I played, of course, was Fallout 3, which I also streamed here, part of our DRBMiller supporting Bethesda acquisition by Microsoft. We had quite a few streams here last month, and thoroughly enjoyed revisiting the new remastered version which I have, or the one which has been tailored for the use on Xbox. It's indeed remarkable, looks and feels a lot better than the old one on 360 which I played about a decade ago. And again, like with the Outer Worlds, I enjoyed every step of the way. Trying to think what else I had. Well, Outriders, I played quite a bit as the game was launched. We've had some streams here, but Outriders streams will resume next week, and we'll carry on with our adventure, which indeed so far has been very enjoyable. You've seen a lot of negative press attached to the game release. For whatever reason, it felt to me like they just simply wanted to kill it off, as it is competing most importantly with Destiny, and it just seemed grossly unfair. There were some technical issues at the launch, but they all got resolved eventually, and I couldn't believe the amount of negative press and publicity coming out even before the game was launched, attached to its demo and various other bits and pieces. And basically all of these guys now have to be eating the words, because the game's taken the world by storm, and it's become one of the most popular and most highly played games at the moment. And everyone who played a demo and got in initially during the opening weekend was appreciative of the high level of communication that the developer was providing to everyone. And no one was, I wouldn't say no one, but the vast majority of people were not annoyed with the tech issues, because they felt supported and helped by People Can Fly, the guys who made the game. So it seemed to have been like a really good launch, albeit with some technical issues, and the game is greatly admired and loved, so there'd be a lot of scope for further development and for many new things to come in, be it in a multiplayer or PvP or PvE format. We need to see, but so far so good. I can't really tell you what my final verdict is, because I haven't gone to the very end game, but we'll carry on with our streams next week as usual. So we'll just enjoy the adventure, progress forward, and try to find out more about the story and the magnificent world of Outriders. To top it all off, I'm trying to think what else I played. Well, that was it really, because the Outer Worlds and Yakuza were being played every single day, and similar to the games like Destiny or the Scrolls, just being drawn into the game, and you want to do it more and more in order to unlock some extra quests, to find out more about the story, and to come to that final section. Believe you me, Yakuza is one of the greatest, how to put it, one of the games with the greatest volume of activities I've ever come across. And if you're looking at the whole series, it has more than 1,000 chapters. Just think about it, more than 1,000 chapters. So I think I will be probably playing Yakuza for a decade before I get to that number of 1,000, considering I maybe invest 90 to 120 minutes a day for the game. My brain's still not working, so the podcast's been delivered fairly early today, and for whatever reason I got up very early today. It was 7 o'clock, and I was really buzzing with energy, and I don't know what's caused it. I really wanted to have another 2 hours of sleep, but it just today wasn't possible. I think probably to do with a change of atmosphere. We had a very, very bright, sunny, very cold weather here during the last week, and there's been a change overnight. So when I woke up, it was raining really badly, the temperature had risen, and it just felt like a completely different atmosphere in our local area. So that probably affected me somewhat, and I'm quite sensitive to the change of high pressure, and I can sometimes be very, very tired or extremely awake, which can be caused by some sort of unpredictable biological factors. Goodness knows what they might be, but certainly tonight was the night, and kicked off very, very early. 7 o'clock I was ready doing my news, so very, very unusual for me, because I much prefer to start after 9 o'clock, but there you are. Anyway, coming back to the game, so I think Yakuza, the Outer Worlds, and Fallout, together with Outriders, have been really entertaining me during the last 3 weeks, and hopefully you are also enjoying some of the new titles. There have been quite a few bits of news arising in my absence. The biggest and the most important one is related to Discord. We talked a lot about Discord and the fact that Microsoft were bidding after that acquisition of Bethesda to get Discord under the umbrella, and I think the initial offer was $10 billion, which had risen to about 12 billion. So altogether, it was a fantastic sum offered to the developer. For whatever reason, according to Bloomberg, although please do not quote me on this, I had this information today, Scott. According to Bloomberg, they were not interested, and they just simply rejected the deal or placed it on hold. And apparently, did establish a partnership with PlayStation. So one wonders really what revenue was offered to the Discord developers from the corporation, because it might have been more sizable, or maybe they've seen some other working prospects in sight. Nevertheless, it has been confirmed that they're working together on some sort of PS5 or PlayStation integration of Discord. The way it's going to look like remains to be seen, but I certainly think that Discord would work extremely well with the streaming services, be it on Xbox or PlayStation. So we need to wait and see what goods they'll come up with. But Discord on consoles is coming soon, and if fully integrated to the consoles, it will be definitely very, very useful. As you know, Discord provides you with a multitude of opportunities similar to what you have on WhatsApp to connect with your viewers and with your community members or friends, in fact, if you are not a streamer. And it does have a whole multitude of different options for you to develop. And as you've seen on my Discord, I'm running it as a hub for my own gaming community, together with special sections dedicated to various games. So any game that is being streamed here does have a separate channel and does have its own regular news feed, keeping everyone fully abreast. And then we can obviously use it for private messages and video calls if necessary, various other comms that are very, very useful. How to put it? The reason they've gone down the route of trying to acquire Discord for consoles is more to do with the fact that they use the platform primarily for PC gaming, and you will know that sometimes people have difficulties with their comms if they're doing the regular streams, and they don't feel that Twitch chat or Twitch comms are too well integrated. I really agree. I agree with the streamers who are indeed raising that concern, because there are certain limitations, and also Twitch chat generally is not too well managed. Unless you are bringing in moderators, you will have sometimes difficulties. There's quite a lot of spamming taking place, sometimes hacking attempts, and overall the problem is sometimes with unpleasant, aggressive, or toxic type of content that can come here. I don't really get much of it here on my channel. I'd say hardly any, because as a mature gamer and as somebody who's a professional broadcaster, I am obviously not of interest to people who are up to doing some pranks. But some of the younger streamers do get sometimes some of it, and I've seen that on the streams as I watch, particularly some of my female colleagues, and I have to say that people doing that sort of thing are just beneath contempt. It's just ridiculous that they're using such forums which have been created for communication and connectivity in order to be venting out their own frustration, complexes, as well as aggression. And I think in due course, and probably not too far ahead from us, we are going to be having some regulation that will be extremely strict, as we already can see that everyone's using online comms, and there's not much difference between doing something live face-to-face and doing it online, and therefore there will be strict measures and new laws coming in, I can assure you, which probably will integrate all the services which are accessed through online through a particular part of judiciary. As we've seen in the UK, we've taken a very, very strong stance on toxic content, on racism, homophobia, and anything else that is of concern. And in fact, I watched football this week, as you know that there have been obviously semi-finals of UEFA and Champions League, and we had so many adverts on BT Sport indicating that we are all fighting together against toxic content and racism, and the messages are very clear. It's something that people should not be doing. So, it's a huge public profile given to the need for online forums to be strictly moderated and policed and enforced if need be, and I think that selection of measures is certainly coming our way. So, coming back to all that I said, it's been a very, very good break, and I certainly enjoyed being away from my online gaming. But there's one thing that really I felt very, very strongly in this instance, and that was to do with, I guess, my own internal sense of loss. Because when you are streaming every day, and when you have a large community of participants with you, particularly with some of the regulars who are playing Destiny, Apex and Warzone for instance, then once you move away from that, after you've been doing it every single day, let's say for 4 or 5 months, you feel a sense of void. You really miss that degree of communication, and I certainly missed my friends and my community tremendously, and certainly towards the end of my second week, as I was on the break, I really felt a huge experience of absence. Something was missing in my day-to-day life, and what was gone, almost that online comms, the fact we talk every single day and I get lots of messages, and so coming back yesterday for my first session of Warzone turned out to be hugely successful, and I'd say thoroughly entertaining. I was intending to stream for my usual 5 hours, but it almost turned into a 10-hour stream. And you know why? Because I had some wonderful, wonderful people joining us here, and they came in through the randoms. And as I said several times here, ever since Apex and Warzone went cross-platform, we had a greater diversity, and I genuinely found many more nicer people out there in online forums who were joining forces with us. So we've had 2 or 3 new team members who joined us, and they participated in somewhat lengthier sessions, and then after I think it was about 8 hours of streaming, we ended it on a high with a victory, and the victory was really quite astonishing. What happened was we've had one match where we played with a duo from it was myself and Joel being a duo, and we brought in 2 people randomly through Warzone who were from Holland. And these 2 guys were absolutely not interested in doing anything within a quad, i.e. doing a proper team effort. And sadly, although they had about 20,000 of the currency in there, they didn't really want to be buying us back. And 2 of us got eliminated towards, I wouldn't say the end of the game, but we were still halfway to the game. And they just, kept doing their own thing. They didn't want to buy us back, and just seemed like a really the best possible example on how not to play this game if you're joining other people live online. I mean, why do a quad if indeed you are doing you want to be doing a duo? Because duo itself is also accessible through Warzone, so you have solos, duos, trios and quads, and there's no reason as to why you should be doing a solo in a quad or the other way around. And after that we were just thinking, well, what on earth is going on? Why did such people join our crew if they want to do just their own thing? But then we brought in another duo, who was incidentally was from England, and we had the best match of the day. It was just absolutely extraordinary. We blended in completely, we worked perfectly. It was absolutely tip-top team effort, which resulted in our victory. We had 2 assaults in there on enemy positions on 2 separate teams, which were almost as if we were doing them in the field, and it was a true joy to watch. So if you have enough time, have a look at the stream that is already archived on Twitch from yesterday, and have a look at this last section where in fact we are playing the last match of the day. So it's the last half hour. Obviously you just have to rewind everything down to about 30 minutes before the end of the stream, and you're able to see it. A really, really good match. It was a really good time effort. I've got to say, it's probably for the first time ever in Warzone that I would have had this sort of experience, because obviously 2 of us, Joel and myself, played the whole afternoon and we had really our tactics worked out. But the new guys came in, and obviously they were duo, they had their own tactics which blended perfectly with ours. It was just honestly, it was a true joy to watch and indeed to play, resulting in victory. So we ended on a massive high, and also it was a very, very busy, very highly communicative, community-based session. So for 8 hours we talked, we chatted, we debated all sorts of issues and things which are related to our life under the duress because of the pandemic, and had plenty of fun. So it was just the best possible. If you have a chance to have a look, we'll have another stream, Warzone stream today and tomorrow. So Warzone is obviously opening up horizons of ideas here for us. We are cracking on with our streams as usual, and the next week we'll be looking at Destiny, Apex, and Outriders. I need to see how sort this out. Coming back to the streams, the new season is bringing some changes to the channel. First of all, I need to tell you that Twitch has changed some of the rules, and I've been informed of this and had to really read the small print to find out what the changes are. And the changes are really specifically to do with some of the online content, i.e. the way we talk about certain subjects, certain issues, how we communicate, what we can say, what we shouldn't say, and therefore I had amended my terms and conditions, my rules for the channel. So anybody who is watching the channel and participating, anybody who wants to come in to play various games live on air, you've got to be reading the terms and conditions, you've got to read the rules. The rules are clearly displayed on my information page on Twitch, and also when you click on chat you will get the full terms and conditions. You've got to read the small print. I have a group of moderators who are taking immediate action according to these rules. So, I do not want to have any problems, disagreements or disputes for people who get banned. If you are wanting to be participating live online, you will need to know that this is a community-based channel which is based on ethical gaming. We don't run anything competitive in here, although we stream Apex and Warzone, which are competitive games, but we don't really play them from that angle. We do them for fun and entertainment. Obviously we always try to excel, we want to play to the best of our abilities, but there's no element of aggression, hassle, needing to crack on, needing to push, that sort of thing. That's just not present here on the channel. And we had some people joining us during the last season who were like that, and sadly it didn't really work out, and I've received quite a few complaints about the conduct and behavior in here, which is what I do not want to have on the channel ever, because the channel has been very, very good standing, and we never had anything of that sort in the past. So just want to really draw everyone's attention to that. That's like really important. And the most important thing for everyone to understand is once you are clicking on the chat, you're being given terms and conditions, i.e. it's like a contract which you need to subscribe to. You enter a contract between myself, i.e. Twitch, and then yourself, and the moderators will not ask any questions. So for instance, it tells you there quite clearly, on this channel we are streaming 18 plus games, but there's no swearing. If you start swearing, you will be first muted, right? So you will not be able to get access to your audio anymore. And secondly, if you keep doing something else, like typing swear words and saying something nasty on chat, you will receive a lifelong ban. Okay, it's as simple as that. There'll be no chats, no questions, no debates about that. It's not possible to retrieve anything back afterwards, or if you want to be disputing it, you'll need to go to the legal channels. And I just want to say to everyone, I want to avoid that sort of hassle. Secondly, for people who are presenting us with a toxic content, i.e. aggressively displaying certain comments towards others who are in our forum, saying something which is considered to be hate speech, racist, homophobic, demeaning towards other gender, again, not just that we will take immediate action, but you will be reported to the authorities. And you may have also reports sent to the game developer. So for instance, Warzone is being published by Activision. They have a safety team in there that looks into these complaints. I have, I would say, a direct line to the executive team. So if you're doing something in here which we consider to be illegal or indeed questionable in terms of our contract and our channel rules, as well as obviously the ones offered by Twitch, we will take that action and we will not notify you, because when we stream live, everything is fully recorded, and everyone who is working for Twitch will be able to access it immediately, as well as anyone who wants to see it through our archive streams on YouTube. So as I said, please do take serious note of everything that's written in there. This is our terms and conditions, this is our channel rules, and you've got to be adhering to those. It's a contract between myself and Twitch for myself to be able to stream, as well as a contract between yourself as a viewer, i.e. participant, and then two of our entities, my channel and obviously Twitch as corporation. So very, very important that you understand that. The second thing I need to say, this is not a channel for children. If we are playing Destiny, or if we are doing some other games that are, I guess, looking a bit like games that children could be accessing, you need to be looking at the certification. So what does it say in there? Does it say that Destiny is 12 plus game? It doesn't, it's 18 plus game. Is Apex 12 plus? No, it isn't, it's 16 plus. So if you're younger than 16, or if you're younger than 18, you're not to be present here on a channel live on air. Secondly, I need to say yet again, anyone who is 13 and younger is not to be accessing Twitch, so you must not be coming in here at all, because this is considered to be a federal offense in the US. So very important that you understand the terms and conditions, you read them, and indeed you adhere to them at all times. Please, please, please do not do something that will cause that degree of punitive action to be taken. I don't want to do that, and I don't want my moderators to have obviously a very, very busy day filling in forms and reporting people who are culprits. So please, it needs to be really fully understood. It's clearly stated everywhere, on my Discord, on my channel, on my YouTube, and here on Twitch chat, and therefore everyone needs to adhere to that full stop. If you're not wanting to do that, if you find that to be overbearing, not agreeable, then I'm afraid this channel is simply not for you. The other thing I need to say is that we are going to be primarily streaming the heavyweights. During last season I had lots of DRBMiller introducing sessions, and these will continue, perhaps not in the same volume. We'll be looking at the build-up of our communities, or I should say the continuation of the usual community build-up attached to the heavyweights. And at the moment we have Warzone, we have Destiny, and we have Apex as the big heavyweights. One game that I'll introduce in due course is Elder Scrolls Online. I think it's a wonderful game for a very good community of gamers to be built, and we'll try to integrate it. I think we'll be also looking at separate days which are dedicated to a specific game, because I think doing a bit of Warzone, a bit of Destiny, a bit of Apex on the same day doesn't work for me, and perhaps does not work for other gamers either. People like coming in and staying with us for a few hours and doing it just flimsily doesn't really do justice to anyone. So we'll have Destiny days, Warzone days, and Apex days. They will be in sync with the new seasons and some of the new content. So for instance, if you have new season and new content introduced to Destiny, we'll have a lot more time dedicated to it, and vice versa. If we are having a Destiny day, we probably will throw in 90 minutes of Warzone and Apex just to keep everyone sweet. But I think we'll play it by ear. In my experience of the last 2 to 3 years, the way it worked the best is we had one day dedicated to a single game, and therefore the activity was rife and people knew exactly what they were going to be getting. And generally the way the communities work here on Twitch are still like that. Variety streaming, it's interesting for, I guess, the viewers who are sort of flicking the remote, but the community of gamers that I have is sticking to their own game at most of the time. I mean, I think Sikapupu and Spurs probably are the exceptions, as they played with me some other games in addition to the core. That would be Destiny for Sikapupu and Warzone for Spurs, but the vast majority of other people prefer to stick to their own game because, first of all, they want to build a community. Secondly, they are dedicated to that particular title. They want to be learning, practicing, getting more experience and excelling. Some people want to get some scores, they want to progress forward, they want to get more experienced. So lots of different issues attached to it. And don't forget the games like Warzone that require maximum team effort, a lot of tactics, a lot of thinking and analysis. Evidently it would take many, many months for everyone to become very, very proficient. Destiny is a vast game, honestly. There's so many different avenues of gameplay in there, so many different things you can do, be it within PvP, PvE, or the combination of the two. Also, what you can get is separate tasks when you're working together with your clan in order to get pinnacle weapons, to complete certain competitions like Guardian games, etc, etc. So obviously it will take a bit of time, and Destiny together with Elder Scrolls I think is one of the very best games if you're building your own community, either live on air or just for yourself with your friends. I think Warzone is slowly, I wouldn't say overtaking, but definitely coming shoulder to shoulder with Destiny. But we're talking about two very different games. There's different reasons as to why people play them. They have a different aura and indeed provide you with a different type of online activity. But I found generally, since I started streaming here about 3 years ago, that Destiny and Warzone brought in the greatest number of participants. Apex was doing that at one time, but I think in certainly recent months, I think since I've gone back to it, I find it to be slightly more depleted compared to the way it was initially. I'm not sure why. I think some guys who played initially found the changes implemented to be perhaps not as good, and I remember doing it with a couple of teams initially during the launch, and I really enjoyed the element of deathmatch initially. We had I think it was 50 teams that were dropped in there, and then 150 participants. The map was, I wouldn't say small, but medium-sized, and lots of people dropping into hot zones, which meant lots of skirmishes initially. So anyone very keen on, Call of Duty games or Battlefield, or even trying to think what else, Titanfall, for instance, also from the same developer, Respawn, they really enjoyed the hot pursuit from the word go, and the game's become a bit more tactical. They reduced the number of participants to 20, so it's 20 different teams, 20 trios, and the map therefore became much bigger, right? With fewer participants, you can stroll, you can strategize, and survive for a lot longer. It's become easier to win, I've got to say. I did have quite a few wins during the last season, and that was not the case when the game kicked off. So maybe for some people that's not really as popular, I'm not sure. We need to wait and see. And certainly in my opinion, Apex as a game has been massively improved. We had lots of additions that include also collections of the graphic novels on seasonal basis. I collected the whole selection during this season. We have lots of cosmetics given to us, be it through purchases or indeed through in-game activity. We have many new characters introduced, and overall I think the gameplay, the quality graphics, the sounds, everything else in there is absolutely tip-top. So I'm really enjoying Apex at present, and I think Jeff and Larry from Xbox also would agree with me, because they said amongst all the games they have on their disposal, you're talking about thousands of games, they really enjoy playing Apex the best, because it's a proper co-op, proper trio type of game, similar to what we have in Warzone, albeit in different environments. But it's lovable. The characters are so funny. You have all of the dialogue and memes that keep coming away, and it's just the kind of game that you really enjoy playing. You always feel good at the end. I mean, I never played any Apex matches feeling, oh, that's been just a complete waste of time. It's never happened. But it was difficult initially, and they also had lots of technical issues with lag and some areas being overly busy with lots of hot loot being allocated there. So it's been a journey, and I think so far a very successful one. So if you're interested, you can just head to Apex website, and they have some really interesting inclusions on the blog. They described the journey, and they thanked the community, because we've had very recently, about 2 months ago, our 2-year anniversary, and I picked up all the lovely charms that indicated that we were completing the season and the anniversary events, which in fact did not work for me in the Division. The Division required a full completion of some of the sections, like DLCs, in order to get that Resident Evil loot, and I played the Division and eventually didn't get it. Actually, stand corrected, I did get some of it, but I didn't get the full Monty, which is what I wanted to have. It'd be really great to walk in the Division dressed up as Leon or any other character from Resident Evil, but it wasn't to be. On the other hand, if I fancy it, I can purchase it. So one way or the other, it's a no-lose situation, all-win situation, I should say. Right, so that's all about our activities and all that we've been doing, giving you our new direction. I apologise, my voice is playing up today. I'm not sure why, what the reason for that is, but it is. And I had a couple of questions from our Destiny veterans. They said, well, we've not seen Destiny here for quite some time. What's going on? Where are you? And I can certainly tell you Destiny is always here. We did play Destiny during the last season. Destiny 2 this was. Destiny 1 I've not played at all in the course of this year. And I think considering how many requests I've had from our good old friends from Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and from Germany, and from the US, I have to say, we'll have some special Destiny 1 streams in here. They'll be scheduled. We'll be looking at maybe specific activities. So if you are wanting to still work on certain weapons or on your characters, just ping me a message. We'll allocate a day, book your space, and we'll do it in trios. So it's going to be really, really enjoyable for everyone. And then we need to do a lot of work in Destiny 2. Honestly, the latest season I've not played as much, and I have not completed Beyond Light, so I'm still waiting for Destiny 2 to go cross-platform, because then Sukapupu can join me almost on every single day, and we can just stroll through everything. I've not seen Flying Pirate here for quite some time, but maybe I'll send him a message. I really want to be finishing Beyond Light. I want to be ready for... I'm not sure whether the launch is going to be in September or November this year, but that's the next big chapter that will get released through Bungie. It'll be very, very exciting. Want to be fully ready for that. So yeah, like I said, Destiny 1 and 2 are going to be featuring here again on the channel, and we'll try to really entertain some of our friends who are playing Warzone and Apex. Maybe they want to join us for a bit. I certainly know that Spurs will want to join us for Destiny, and trouble I have with it is I do not have the full content on PlayStation, because it's given to us for free, part of our subscription on Xbox, and I'm playing it on Xbox, and because the game's still not cross-platform, can't bring in our PlayStation friends. And incidentally, for 2 years I played Destiny on PlayStation, so it's just my own fault, isn't it? But nevertheless, we'll get there in due course. I think Destiny cross-platform should have really already risen around Easter time, but they postponed it, I think, until the launch of the next chapter. So later in this year, we are going to be able to access it from any console platform. I mean, from any platform we have, maybe also inclusive of Android. As you know, Destiny 2 on Xbox is playable on your handsets. So if you want to be trying some of the activities on your tablet or phone, you can easily do it, but you will need to have your controller with you. Remember that it's not really done through touch controls or on-screen display controls. Right, so that's all about the channel. I told you all about the new direction. We'll be focusing on the blockbusters. The season will last until sometime in September, so we have 4 or 5 months ahead of us with a lot of AAA blockbusters that will include Warzone, Destiny, and Apex, and maybe we'll be looking at Elder Scrolls at a later stage. Also, I mentioned all about our terms and conditions, which have been revised. Please do read them carefully if you are indeed subscribing to the channel, or if you want to be participating live online. Most importantly, if you are going to be talking. Other bits of news are related to PlayStation. Anyone who is familiar with PlayStation 5, 2 major new titles have been released recently, that's in the last few weeks, and I want to really tell you a bit about these. Obviously, you've heard about them, you probably watched the trailers, maybe even played the demos. Resident Evil Village is the first big release, and the other one is Returnal. Lots of criticism launched at Capcom for releasing that demo, which was time limited. It was playable for 6 hours, and people were extremely angry that this was definitely not a model that they are accustomed to, and they did not find it to be fitting or suitable for their day-to-day routine and their usual work schedule, which I can fully understand. It was time limited, and it was basically delivered within a certain number of hours per day. So if you were to be playing this demo, you had to be playing between 8 o'clock and maybe 1 o'clock in the morning on that specific day. I don't have the dates at the front of me to tell you exactly when this was. So anybody who was not at home able to access it online couldn't really do it. That's nonsense, really. It just defeats the purpose of running a demo. They could have done it in the same fashion like what we had with Resident Evil 2 Remake, which meant you had to complete the demo within a certain number of minutes. but obviously a different idea was launched and it didn't really turn out to be popular. However, huge anticipation for the game, and many people pre-ordered. So let's have a look what Resident Village can offer. So you obviously know that it's part of the franchise. It's a survival horror game developed and published by Capcom. So it's the 10th main installment of the Resident Evil series. 10 of them. I remember playing the first one in 1997, I think. And a narrative sequel to 2017's Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. So the game follows Ethan Winters, who, after a fateful encounter with Chris Redfield, finds himself in a village filled with mutant creatures in an effort to find his kidnapped daughter. While Village maintains the series' mainstay survival horror elements, the game adopts a more action-oriented gameplay compared to its predecessor. Well, that's very interesting, because I've got to say I replayed Resident Evil 1 recently, and we had that also introduced here on the channel. We can access it. No, we can't actually access it on Xbox. I purchased it. No, hang on. I think it was given to us as part of our Xbox subscription for free. It was on Xbox Gold. And I forgot how difficult Resident Evil is, because you've got to be surviving and then collecting those ribbons to save the game, and it's really not my cup of tea. I remember playing the original game on PlayStation 1 more than 25 years ago, and it did take me a long while to finish it. So to see that they're moving away from that concept is definitely soothing as far as I'm concerned. Not my, some people really like doing it. People doing Path of Exile, they wanted it on the survival mode and played continuously, they need to make sure that they never die, because if they die, they need to start the whole game from the very beginning. Why not would I want to do that? But it's down to the player preference. So the director of Resident Evil Village is Morimasa Sato, producers are Tsuyoshi Kanda, Peter Fabiano and Masaka Kawata, designer is Isia Mohara, programmers are Tetsuya Noda and Masashiro Kamo, the main lead artist is Tomonori Takano, writer is Anthony Johnson, and the engine is RE Engine, which is Resident Evil Engine, the proprietary to Capcom. Released on all platforms. No longer is Resident Evil proprietary to PlayStation. So Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, 5, Stadia, Xbox One and Series X and S released incidentally yesterday, May the 7th, on Friday. So it also includes an online multiplayer mode. The game was announced at the PlayStation 5 reveal event in June 2020 and was released on May the 7th for, as like I said, one of the game's main antagonists, Lady Dimitrescu, rose in popularity, going on to become an internet meme. Upon the release, the game received mostly favorable reviews. Many praised the visuals, gameplay, enemy variety and presentation. So lots of lengthy comments and descriptions in here, but we'll just look at the reception. The reception has been generally very positive. They're getting 8 to 8.5 out of 10, 85 out of 100, and I think GameSpot gave it 9 out of 10, IGN 8 out of 10, and GamesRadar 4.5 out of 5. So that's really very positive. But don't forget, the game's just been released yesterday, so we need to wait for feedback and for many other things to come our way to be able to judge accordingly. The other big title is Returnal, and I've got to say that both Resident Evil Village and Returnal have such great state-of-the-art graphics that even if you hated these games, you just want to watch the graphics, be it on YouTube or Twitch or elsewhere. They just look so incredibly well developed. It's next gen, razor sharp, and you feel like you're really fully part of that world. And I think Resident Evil, I would imagine, very scary if you are indeed using high quality headsets. So Returnal is a third-person shooter roguelike video game developed by Housemarque and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Released for the PlayStation on April the 30th, so it's been around for about a week. The game follows Celine, an Astra scout who lands on the planet Atropos in search for the mysterious white signal, finds herself trapped in a time loop. Upon release, Returnal received generally very positive reviews. Harry Kruger is the director. Designer is Henry Mustonen, programmers Ari Ambjosson and Mariko Velinen, and Ville Knussen and Suvi Jabinen are artists. Written by Gregory Loudon and Harry Kruger. Composer was Bobby Krillick. So let's see. Returnal is a third-person shooter video game featuring roguelike elements and covering the psychological horror genre, so it's very, very scary. Set in a futuristic science fiction setting, the player controls Celine, played by Jane Perry, space pilot equipped with a suit and armed with high-tech weapons, who is stranded on the alien planet Atropos and stuck in a time loop. Sounds a bit like Alien, doesn't it? And after every death, Celine is resurrected, following a pattern of traversing across foreign environments and combating extraterrestrial entities and growing visions in an ever-changing world. So, Return was developed by Housemarque Key, published by Sony Interactive. It's proprietary to PlayStation. We can't access it on any other platform at the moment. And it also is taking advantage of PS5 DualSense controller and Tempest engine to support advanced haptic feedback. So it's 3 spatial audio and real-time ray tracing effects, which altogether will be enhancing the player immersion experience. So I really want to try that. Really, I don't have PlayStation 5 yet, but it sounds really definitely very much of interest. And with the increased processing power and inclusion of a custom solid-state drive storage in PlayStation 5, the game features reduced loading times and a wide variety of enemies. So visual effects and objects within gameplay scenes, and additionally the game runs at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. In fact, yesterday one of our friends joined us here live on air, and he was discussing the benefits of Xbox Series S, on which he played some games with 120 FPS, and he has a very, very expensive monitor. He said it was a bit of a downside for PlayStation 5 not to have it, but I think these are really, how to put it, the very niche gaming experiences. I think for the vast majority, they will not notice the difference. But if you are playing games like Warzone, you will see the difference, because the movement appears to be a lot more smooth, more natural. There's less flicker, less lag or delay that otherwise you would be getting, and it just generally becomes, like they said here, a fully astonishing immersive experience. So Return was revealed at Sony's PlayStation 5 reveals stream on June the 11th, and that was June the 11th of 2020. The game was exclusively developed for the PlayStation 5, and it was initially scheduled for release on March the 19th, 2021, but then they delayed the release due to some technical issues, and as you've seen, it's come out on the 30th of April. So the reception generally has been very positive. I think people who are in awe of Dead Space trilogy would find Returnal very much up the alley. It's a kind of game that is very, very similar. Being dropped on a foreign planet, you need to be surviving all the hostilities. And let's see, Game Informer gave it even 9.5 out of 10, so almost 10 out of 10. GameSpot 9 out of 10, GamesRadar 4 out of 5, IGN 8 out of 10. So these are really very, Push Square 9 out of 10, so very, very favorable reviews. I'm curious to see how the resurrection works, because Spurs told me that if you were killed, you would have to be starting everything from the beginning. So I need to explore this, and indeed, if they are doing the survival mode literally throughout, then that is not going to be the game that I will thoroughly enjoy. But very, very curious and very excited about it. And I had a couple of people popping in the other day indicating, well, you can always have a look at it on YouTube. I really don't like doing that, because if I really enjoy the game, I would not watch, like Ubisoft Connect. No, it's Ubisoft Connect. So Ubisoft introducing, or whatever it's called, the program they run, where they do like a couple of hours of gameplay. It just spoils the experience for me. I'll watch trailers and teasers and maybe some developer diaries, but the actual gameplay is not something I want to be doing before jumping in. It does interfere with my own experience of that particular title, and it's been a principle for me ever since I started playing video games 30 years ago. So, I'll look at all the developer diaries, all the information coming in, and then if I want to play the game, I'll do it obviously present day and age on the streaming services. Don't have to pay anything extra. I'll wait for a game to come to our freebie weekends. Yesterday Spurs and me talked about a game that turned out to be slightly disappointing. Watch Dogs Legion, huge amount of publicity, a lot of expectation, but really I think the game didn't deliver in the way we expected it to be, and there has been certainly an issue between the plot, the story-driven missions, and the activity in the open world. It felt a bit disjointed, and I didn't really have any major issues because I played it for free. We had a lengthy 5-day weekend. Sadly, I discovered that the game's really not popular on Twitch. We had a freebie weekend and only had about 20 or 30 people watching other people's streams, which tells you the game didn't really take off, and that's only about 4 or 5 months after its release. So really sad to see that, and they launched the entire program of enhancements, improvements with extra missions, with new activity, extra skins, maybe some PvP activities, and we need to see whether Watch Dogs Legion is going to be massively improved in due course. But certainly the initial experience had been slightly off mark, and I think for myself the first thing I noticed was that London that they described through the developer diaries was not as given. Once you got into the game, and particularly for us Londoners, we can see certain problems in there. Most importantly, the distances have been significantly shortened, so you don't have the experience of roaming the streets in central London in the same way as you should if you are indeed a Londoner or live in the city. And then secondly, the problem was with the selection of your faction members. You're examining all the people who are walking about and collecting them, and suddenly the game selects a random faction member who's being just thrown in, and some of the people who you want to be selecting can't get in for whatever reason, that they don't have the skills, or there's some sort of, the game tells you that there's a reason as to why they can't become part of your crew, and that's contradicting what developers said, indicating that you will be able to pick up anyone from anywhere in order to join you. So I'm not really explored that in depth, but it did, it had its highlights and some delights. I really enjoyed roaming the streets and exploring certain buildings and conducting certain activities. Also, I was quite keen on the use of high tech, because most of the times you'll be using spy bots and you'll be hacking into cameras and all this. But I've got to say, as you're using the same selection of tools, very quickly after you've done maybe 5 or 6 hours, the activity becomes a bit mundane and a bit repetitive. So you're not using a selection of tools, it's always like one tool which is allowing you to be getting into certain areas, and I think lots of people had some concerns about it. It's certainly a good idea. It's a game that's focusing on the dangers of the tech and the big tech IT corporations attempting to seize on the power and then eventually attempting to rule the world. But maybe like some other games, as they spend a lot more time and effort on developing certain sections, the game will become fully fledged with more interesting content. We had Destiny 1, experienced the same sort of problem initially, and then with the updates and DLCs it became the game that it is today. So obviously we'll wait and see what happens next. So these are the 2 releases that we all need to be looking at: Returnal and Resident Evil Village. As said, released in the last couple of weeks, so if you're interested, if you are a proud owner of your PlayStation 5. Spurs is still waiting for his PlayStation 5, he told us yesterday, and he's not the only one. There are lots of other people still queuing up to get the console here in Britain for whatever reason, and I'm one of them. I'm just still waiting. Well, I've not ordered it, but I have to say that the price plans offered are a bit steep for me at the moment, and I wanted to get both PlayStation and Xbox through my operator EE. It's a special plan, and obviously if you are in Britain, if you're also on EE, you may be wanting to consider it. But there was one plan offered around Christmas time that seemed very accessible and very pleasing for my eye, and I didn't grab it straight away because the consoles were not in stock. They said you can register interest, you basically will inform you once we get them, and once they began to get extra stock, they also changed the pricing plans. So instead of paying just £20 a month for 11 months for Xbox Series S, the price was raised to about 40 and 50. I think the packages were offering a subscription to the Ultimate together with the extra controller, and it's completely unnecessary because I already have my subscription. I use my Microsoft points in order to claim it every few months for free, and so obviously I don't want that, but I can't really extract it from what is offered. And then having an extra controller increases the price for about 80 or 90 pounds, and just completely unnecessary. So therefore at the moment I've got to pass on the offer, and it pains me a bit to see that, because I was quite keen on getting Xbox Series X more than anything else. I think PlayStation 4 performs quite well as it stands today. I don't really have to have the new console immediately, but on the other hand, as I'm a very very avid user of Sony equipment that comprises my TV and my sound system as well as my Android, it may be that at some point in the future we'll be getting a special offer. You upgrade your phone and you are getting your new PlayStation for free, if you get the top model obviously, and that's exactly what I've done with my PlayStation. I acquired a Sony Xperia phone and then I was given the PlayStation console for free, believe you me. So it was the best offer I had ever had given to me by any company, because the Xperia phone at the time was priced about 1,300, and then on top of that I would get PlayStation 4 Pro, which was at the time costing 400. So 400 and 1,200 altogether. It's almost 2k if you look at it with all the other costs included, given to you just on a price of your regular plan, which you pay as you go along. I mean, no brainer. Seriously, but it's offered for a very very short period of time, and obviously I grabbed it straight away, so it's still here with me, both my Xperia as well as my console. But I upgraded my Xperia since, so it's been a few years. Alright my friends, I think we've come to the end of our podcast, which is the first podcast in our new series. The new season kicked off yesterday with Warzone, as you've seen, a lengthy stream which was very busy, enjoyable, very community based. We'll try to do exactly the same thing today. So an early start for me today, which is truly delightful. I'm very very happy because, quite frankly, considering the volume of films and video games I've been watching and playing, it's been a bit difficult to rise early in recent weeks, or I should say recent months. But certainly my objective is to be able to do that exactly as it appeared to be fully done today. And early rises and having a lot more time to do certain things, and that's the plan. Alright, so thank you for watching my podcast, thank you for joining us, thank you for being very valued members of our community. If you have any questions, any concerns, you want to discuss anything, ping us a message and we'll answer these here live online, or I'll respond in person. I respond personally, I want to meet you face to face. I'll ping you a message back if indeed it concerns some specific, perhaps confidential, more private issues, and we can obviously raise it here live on air if you wish to for me to do so. So yeah, make sure, keep them coming, and tell us all about your current gaming experience. What are you doing this weekend? Are you playing Resident Evil Village? Have you purchased Returnal? Are you doing anything else on PlayStation 5? Have you got your new Xbox Series S or X? Tell us. We'll be very very glad to hear from you. So we've come to the end, and I'll have a short break. After that we'll crack on with Warzone, another lengthy session of our online activity with our community and our friends. Stay with us, enjoy, and I shall see you all later.